Don't agnostics get on your nerves a bit?
No, because we're all agnostic, aren't we?
And then?
Agnostics annoy me more.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Now let's see why agnostics annoy him so much.
This new trendy little linguistic piece of logic that since neither can know, you've got to be agnostic. Well, okay, that's fair enough, but do you, follow the same rules with fairies and Santa? No, you don't. Would you tell your kid that we don't know if Santa exists or not? No, you wouldn't.
So Ricky's issue is that agnostics aren't applying their standards consistently. Well, okay, let's look at his own rules.
So this is atheism in a nutshell. You say there's a God. I say, can you prove that? You say no. I say, I don't believe you then.
Couldn't be clearer, okay? Now, here's Ricky speaking to Lawrence Cruz.
That to worry about now.
Yeah, now there's many more universes. Yeah, that's another thing to worry about.
So, and is that the nature of infinity, or is that literal?
But there's no empirical evidence for multiple universes. Therefore, again, if Ricky insists on people being consistent to their own rules, why didn't he respond with...
You say...
Now there's many more universes, yeah.
I say, can you prove that? You say no. I say, I don't believe you then.
And why is this so important? Because by following the rules of his own convictions, he would have to relinquish the idea of multiple universes. That leaves him facing the fine-tuning problem.
The argument for God from fine-tuning, it's essentially a design argument. It's saying, look at the extraordinary fine-tuning of these initial constants of the universe. If they differed from their actual value just a tiny bit, we wouldn't have a universe capable of producing life. And yet here we are. It needs an explanation. One of the explanations on the table is a designer behind the whole thing. And when you look at the extraordinary numbers we're talking about, you can see why it does, even for someone like you, Richard, you'd say that if there were an argument, it might be this one.
And in the same discussion, even Dawkins said, with such an argument...
You might convince somebody like me to be a deist.
So when considering universal constants, even the world's most adamant atheist acknowledges that they could lend some credibility to design arguments that Ricky seems to dismiss or ridicule.
And I go, well, where did it all come from then? Go, God made it. I go, okay, where did God come from? She went, he's always been around. I go, simple as that, innit?
Now, back to his interview with Lawrence.
And so why did it have a beginning when it had a beginning? And the answer is, it just happened. But it did.
I get that. I'm happy with that as well.
But
no, hold on.
Go, God made it. I go, okay, where did God come from? She went, he's always been around. I go, simple as that, innit?
To then settle for an explanation of...
It just happened.
Look, if Ricky wants to maintain the same standards of consistency he demands from agnostics, he would not be accepting the explanation "it just happened" and the unproven multiple universe concept, thus leaving him here.
Video. Imagine you fill the entire observable universe that's roughly 93 billion light years across with grains of sand. You label one specific grain of sand somewhere in this cosmic sandbox, one grain of sand. Now you're blindfolded and now you're given a spaceship and you're asked to randomly pick out the one grain of sand from the entire sandbox of the observable universe. The chance of picking that one labeled grain of sand on your first try is 1 in 10 to the 120th. That's the probability of the cosmological constant. If it's not designed, if it's not intended, if it's not on purpose, if it's actually just chance, then let's be really clear here. If you're basically a materialist and an atheist, you're saying that is what happened. And to me, I don't have that much faith.
And as for that level of faith?
It's just faith.
Pretty pathetic, really, isn't it?
Well, it is pathetic, but they mustn't ever engage in logic.
So within that in mind, let's ask, what's more probable? 1. Ricky's many contradictions and opposing convictions stem from the clear, objective, critical thinking he and many new atheists claim to champion. Or 2. What we've just witnessed is a result of the powerful but unconscious influences of cognitive biases. That confirms.
It means that most of us, most of the time, are actively supporting our own prejudices and seldom calling them into question.
But just to reiterate, most of us, most of the time, whether atheists, theists, spiritualists, scientists, philosophers, none of us are immune. So Ricky is far from alone. However, along with that truth, here's another. Ricky has no idea whether there exists a higher divine intelligence or not. He offers no evidence to support his often contradictory conclusions, yet presents many as knowledge. Behaviour that certainly seems in line with the "I think it, therefore it's true" mindset reported within the Stanford study on cognitive biases. So that's it for this one. So until the next time, please hit the subscribe button. Take care, stay safe, and most of all, keep open. Bye-bye.